Okay. So thank you so much for joining. The objective of today's meeting is just to give you some guidelines regarding the CISSP and to clarify some important point and to take your question. Our session will be around maybe 20 minutes or something, so just to go through it. Now, I don't know about your background, but what I need to say is that even if you are starting, you don't have that much of background, you still can complete the CISSP exam, complete the course and take the exam within like from 6 to 8 weeks maximum. So even if you start from the beginning, it shouldn't be an issue. The thing with CISSP, it covers too many topics, but only a brief definition of about each topic. It's not going deep in any of the topic. You should put that in your mind. So the thing about the exam is not hard. It's just tricky. But they are not asking deeply about something. This is the first point. Second point, which is a very, very important point, because I got many questions about that, CISSP doesn't have a brain dumps questions. In a way that some other exam, like for instance, Cisco and Microsoft and many of the exams, there is some brain dumps. I don't know if you know about brain dumps or not. It's just question and answer, where you can study them and sit for the exam and still be able to pass the exam without any knowledge about the subject. If you got a good memory and you can memorize all the exam, the question and answer, you still can bypass the exam easily. This is not the case with CISSP. CISSP, you have to study. You don't have any other way. And actually, it's not a bad thing, because CISSP is still maintaining its value in the market. If you go to apply for a job and you say you have a CISSP, they will know that unless you know the knowledge, unless you have the knowledge and you are aware of information security, you will not be able to get certificate. While if you go to apply for a job and you hold the CCNA or MCSE, they know maybe you got the certificate by using a brain dumps. It doesn't reflect that you have knowledge or you have the right background. So it's not a bad thing. But still, you're going to need to do some effort. Not too much, but you're going to need to do some effort. Okay? So how the plan should work. How you'll be able to finish the course and be able to pass the exam within 6 to 8 weeks with the minimum amount of effort. This is what we are trying to say. Some people may spend like 1 or 2 years preparing for the CISSP. Actually, it doesn't require that much of time. So the thing about CISSP, you have 8 domains. To be able to finalize them, you need to go domain by domain. So you need to finalize the first domain, take some exam about the first domain, make sure that you got the knowledge needed from the first domain, the basic knowledge in the CISSP, then move to the second domain. So do not take the full course video and read the book and then start practicing the question. No, you need to go domain by domain. This is why I'm giving you the course. I mean, you have my course, it's domain based. And after finishing each domain, what you need to do, I already shared with you domain evaluation exam. So you have a domain or you have an exam for each domain. This is the first domain, second and third and so on. And I keep changing those questions to be very realistic, very similar to the real exam, even harder. Okay? So when you finish the first domain, you take this exam practice question, you click on the link, you put the password, and you take the exam. If you got less than 80%, you are not ready to move to the second domain. You didn't study this domain that well. So you need to go back to the first domain and do not move from the first to the second unless you get 80%. And you do the same for the second domain and the third domain till the 8th domain. This is how it works. Once you finish the 8th domain, then I have another document. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me now? I can hear you now. But it's better to mute your mic, and after I finish, I'm going to take your question. Is it okay with you? Excellent. So after finishing domain by domain, and by doing that, you will not move from the first domain to the second domain unless this domain has been closed and you are ready for the exam. This is the easiest way. Once you finish the 8th domain, then I have 6 final exams. Guys, the point with CISSP is not the course, is not the knowledge, because just basic knowledge, right? Is about the exam practice question. If you solve the right exam practice question and you solve too many questions, you'll pass the exam, because you need to learn the tricks inside the exam. But the knowledge itself is quite easy, by the way. That's why people, if they just read the book and went to the exam, 100% they're going to fail, because they are not straightforward straightforward questions. That's why I focus that you have to solve as much question as you can. And instead of searching here or there, I'm giving you the latest exam practice question that I guarantee if you go through them and you read the explanation, 100% you're going to pass, inshallah. So after finishing domain by domain, then you take those 6 final exams. Exam 1, exam 2, exam 3, 6 exams. And if you went through them and you got score more than 80%, you are 100% ready to sit for the exam and you will not fail. The thing that I keep updating those questions. So it's not like, they keep changing. And I'm getting the latest exam practice question and I updating them. So this is how it need, or this is the plan to be able to pass the exam in a short period of time. This is my first point, that you need to go domain by domain. And after each domain, you got the knowledge, you watch the video. If anything is not clear, you check the sunflower. Sunflower, we're going to go through that right now. And then take the exam related to this domain and make sure you get more than 80%. Then I have a very important document, which is the sunflower document. This is actually, it's a must for the people who need to pass the exam. Now, sunflower, it's like summarizing all the definition and everything you need to know about CISSP. Instead of reading a lot of books, everything is here. And it's summarized, and they are even focused about the point that may be like raised in the exam. Sometimes when you read like a subject, you can find something that is underlined. Like here, they put this underline about this part. This indicates that this is critical for the exam. Or maybe something is written in bold or capital letter, need to know. So whatever they are like highlighting a subject or a topic or a phrase, this is very, very important for the exam. And realistically, you're going to need to memorize those 24 pages. Literally memorize it. I know people, but I do not suggest that only study from the sunflower and sit for the sunflower and the exam question and they pass. But I don't suggest that, because you don't want to take any risk. Exam is around $600 right now. I think they're going to raise the price. So you don't want to take any risk and repeat the exam. So sunflower, it's a very, very important document. So you finish each domain, you read the sunflower, the domain from the sunflower, and you read it very, very well. And you highlight the points that like was not clear for you, because it's just brief definition about each topic. And then you start taking the exam related to this domain. This is how it works. It will not take much time, it will not take much effort, and it will let you confident that you are ready to sit for the exam. But do not take any risk sitting for the exam unless you are 100% sure that you will be able to pass it. So this is briefly my plan. Now I have one more comment about which book should you use. There is a lot of book. I cannot suggest a specific book. There is CyBEX and there is the Sean Harris and there is many books. It depends on you. You maybe feel comfortable with CyBEX. I like CyBEX. They give a lot of examples. Or you may be like comfortable using another book. It's up to you. But the resources that I confirm that you have to use it is the course that I shared with you, the video. The book I shared with all of you, the presentation and the book, it's quite easy book, easy to read, and you don't have to read the whole book. If you watch the video, just go through the definition inside the book. If one of the point was not clear enough in the video, you can read it in depth from the book, and then take the exam practice question. This is how it works. Quite easy, and it's not that hard. By doing that, within the 6 to 8 weeks, you will be ready to sit for the exam, and you'll be comfortable, and you'll be able to pass it from the first attempt. Last point, I don't recommend Sean Harris' book. I don't know if you know about Sean Harris' book. It's very, very deep. You need to spend 6-7 months to finish the book. And she's going much more deeper than the real CISSP curriculum. So it's a nice book, but if you have time, yeah, read it. If you have 1 year left, it's fine. You can read it. You will get a lot of knowledge. But she's going much more deeper than the real exam. So this is briefly my plan. The course, the exam practice question, it's critical. You should never sit for the exam unless you finish my exam practice question. And sunflower. Sunflower, it's better to print it, highlight it, the important point. Literally, you're going to need to memorize those definitions. This is the definition combined from all the CISSP books. So it's very, very important. So this is what I wanted to discuss with you regarding the plan, what needs to be done, and I'll be available for your support whenever it's needed. We're going to do this session every 2-3 weeks, and we're going to go through the domain. If any of the topics is not clear, I can clarify it for you. So this is my point, and please let me know if you have any question, if anything is not clear, if you need to discuss your background. I'm okay with that.
The sunflower nodes, I have a quick question, Mohammed.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, the sunflower nodes, version 1 or version 2, should we go ahead with it?
Excellent question. Excellent question. Now, the first version, which is the sunflower, which is summary 1.1.
Yeah.
This was very, very organized document. And actually, I still recommend this one. But the only problem with version 1 is that it's mapped to the old or the previous version. If you don't mind, just mute the mic because there is an echo. So the only problem with version 1 is that the domain is based on the previous one, on the CISSP 3rd edition, which was the access control, security architecture. But right now is different. Right now the domain are the same, but they have been combined in a different way. So I still suggest or recommend that you use this sunflower, but you're going to need to do some effort. I mean, access control is in one of the domain. You will not find it under the same name. You don't have a separate domain under the name of access control, but it's going to be inside the risk management. So you're going to do some effort, but still this was the most organized document. Sunflower version 2, they try to do something similar, but I didn't like it actually. I didn't find it useful like this one, because this one is focusing about the important point. But what is the weakness in Sunflower version 1, except that the domain is mapped to the old version, is that it doesn't cover the cloud security. There isn't anything related to cloud here. So you can study from here, but when it comes to cloud security, you can read it from Sunflower version 2. But this one, I still believe this is the best Sunflower that has been done. You got my point?
Yeah, thank you. It was very nice. Good question, yeah.
Okay. Anything about the background? Anything about any question about the content? Anything? Muhammad, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, exactly. Do you have any question?
Yeah, actually, I have one question. I already asked it by email as well, but actually I'm still confused. I'm still
Ahmed, could you please raise your voice?
hello.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes. Is it with distortion? Is it fine now?
Yeah, it's fine. Yes. Yeah, tell me.
Okay. So actually, I'm still on first chapter of Cybex, and actually I have my job here as well, and just get 1 to 2 hours daily from it, and weekends only. So, as I already asked you on the email, that whether I should go with the book that you have shared, because that is very much to the point, and following the videos that you have already provided. And if I go with the Cybex, so you said that that is also good, but I don't think that Cybex will be finished within
I
if I want to finish
agree.
it off in 6 to 8 weeks.
Yes, I agree. Here is how you can do it. The best way. Start with
Yeah.
the books that I shared. It's a very small one, straightforward. It will not take time. And then start
Okay.
practicing the question. If you find any question that was not
Okay.
covered well in the books that I share, you can read about it from
Okay.
Cybex. So use Cybex as a reference, but not as a study material.
Okay. And what about the cloud security and all these stuff that is actually being provided in the latest version? So that is already covered in the book, yeah, that you have provided, or we will have to
Yes.
refer
No,
to
no,
the
no, no.
Cybex?
It's provided in the books that I provided. It's provided in the course. It's not a problem.
Okay.
So cloud
Okay.
cover. I was talking about the sunflower because sunflower. This one it was an old version, so they didn't cover the cloud security, and we got a good amount of question about cloud inside the exam. So you don't want to miss that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll just follow up the book that you have shared, and we'll go for the practice questions domain by domain as
Exactly.
recommended by
Exactly. I think this will be more than enough. Okay.
you. Okay, okay.
So
Then I'll follow
it's
that
not
direction.
hard. It just need to be planned. This is what I'm trying to say. Okay. I'll be
Okay,
available
okay.
and we can meet frequently. If you have any question about the content itself, I'll be there. And but just start because most probably by the end of the year there will be things in the curriculum. So you need to plan to finalize that before the end of this year. Things may get harder, exam may get harder, so it's a good chance to take it right now. And the plans that I shared with you is tested. I have most of my students passed from the first time. So it's more than 99 point something people who sit and passed following this plan using those resources. That's why I'm very comfortable with when I'm sharing that with new candidates. I know that it worked. So do not waste time. Do not plan to take it next year because things keep changing. And maybe the opportunities that you have right now will not be there next year. So I'm done from my side. I was expecting more people to join, but since we only both of you, so I'm okay if you have any question or anything.
Yeah, the final exam, the sixth final exam, that I don't have the link. So that once I clear the domain by domain, you share it, right? I mean,
If you don't have, because I already shared like a study plan with those files and those links. So if you didn't receive it, just drop me an email to
okay.
CISSP@infosec@tc.com and I'm going to reply back with those documents and the exam practice question and everything and sunflower and everything.
Yeah, the 8 domain by domain exam practice question I have. I don't have the sixth final exam, the
No
one, the
problem.
sixth.
Just drop me an email. I'll send it back to you.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for joining and best of luck. And I'll be available if any support is needed or any help is needed.
Yeah, one more question. I'm sorry for that.
No, okay.
What about the mind mapping? Actually, you have shared the mind mapping links
Yes.
as well, and also the CPK. So when to refer those actually during the preparation?
Mind mapping, actually, I prefer that you do your own. I just wanted to share with you an example of mind mapping. It actually is very, very effective way while you are studying subjects that cover too many topics. When you do mind mapping, I tested that before, and I suggest that for everyone who's taking CISSP with me. So the reason I shared that with you, not to study from my own mind mapping, but just to show you the methodology, and you can do it. It really saves a lot of time. So if you need any guidelines, if you need any video about how to do that, I can provide you with that. So just a study way, you know, it's not like a methodology for studying, especially when things has a lot of definitions and a lot of terminology, and you get lost. So mind mapping, very, very helpful.
Okay, so we'll go with that. And the other thing is the CBK review. So is that necessary to go through for the preparation, or we can just bypass it?
No, I don't suggest unless you have time. But it's just the official book. But it will not help you. It's a very dry book. It doesn't have any example, just definition and definition. So, but still, you know, I cannot enforce anyone to read or unread the book. It's up to you. But my plan, my objective is to let you finalize the exam with a specific amount of time. So I'm giving you the plan for doing that. But if you have time, feel free to read whatever you have.
Just to conclude it, we will go through the book that you have shared, and we'll go through the exams, the domain exams, evaluation exams, domain by domain. Once all the domains are completed, we will go with the final exams one by one. And if we see if our score is less than 80%, so we'll go through that domain again, or we'll go through that specific.
And even if it's more than 80%, check what are the points that you lost inside the exam. You know what I mean? You need to be confident about the domain. The secret here is to be domain by domain, not to finish the whole course, then start practicing the question. So this is what you need to do. So domain by domain, and you need to close the domain. I'm taking 80%, actually 70%, it's okay, but you have to keep some buffer. So 80%, and even the points that you lost, if you are not comfortable with the point, like physical security, business continuity, any topic, go through it one more time before moving to the second domain. So this is how it's going to work. It will save you a lot of time if you do it this way. Okay, guys?
Okay, our questions are answered. Thank you very much.
You are most welcome. Thank you so much for meeting me today, and wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. So nice of you.
Okay, take care. Sri, take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
You are most welcome.